Hey, guys.
You know, Breaking Bad gave us some of the most terrifying villains in TV history. I mean, Todd, Tuco, Gus, even Walt himself. But then Better Call Saul came around, and we got to see the worst of the worst. Lalo Salamanca.
What a pleasure. I've heard so much about you.
From the moment we saw him on screen, we knew he was different. He wasn't like the rest. He was the worst. And what made him so scary? Well, it might have been that he's too happy. I mean, who's that happy? No one.
Is everything to your liking?
Are you kidding me? This is the best chicken I have ever had.
There was something different about him. That smile. So picture this. 2009, Breaking Bad Season 2, Walt and Jesse have just dragged poor Saul Goodman out into the middle of the desert. Bag over his head, thinking he's about to die. Now, this is Saul we're talking about. The guy who can talk his way out of a parking ticket, a tax audit, probably even his own funeral.
Better call Saul!
But something happens out there in the desert that I'll never forget. The moment. And I mean the moment Saul thinks the cartel sent someone after him, he completely loses it. And the first words out of his mouth, it wasn't me. It was Encarnacio.
No, it wasn't me. It was Ignacio. He's the one. Lalo didn't send you? No, Lalo?
Who?
Oh, thank God.
Now here's the thing. None of us had any clue who this Lalo guy was. Just some random name, right? I remember thinking, who the hell is Lalo? And then forgetting about it completely. But years later, when Better Call Saul started telling us the whole story, man, that scene hit different. Because I realized what I was actually watching wasn't just panic. It was trauma. Pure, deep trauma that had been eating at Saul for years.
So $100K for a little drive through the desert, huh?
That's the price.
When he thought Lalo had come for him, he didn't even try to bargain. He just screamed. And now I know why. Fast forward to Better Call Saul Season 4. The show's been building up the Salamanca family as these terrifying psychopaths. We've already met Tuco, twitchy, violent, completely unpredictable. We know about the cousins, these silent killing machines, and Hector, sitting in his wheelchair, burning with pure rage. So when they told us we were finally going to meet Lalo, I was ready for another monster. What we got instead was, well, it was kind of confusing at first.
What are you doing here?
I'm just here to lend a helping hand, make sure the business is running in order. I got a good head for numbers.
This guy walks on screen and he's charming. Like, genuinely charming. He's cooking amazing food, telling hilarious stories, playing music. I'm sitting there thinking, wait, is this the same family? Maybe he's the normal one. Maybe he's the Salamanca who got lucky. And then, with that same warm smile on his face, he kills someone. That's when it clicked for me. The smile wasn't a mask hiding the monster. The smile was the monster. And I'd been fooled just like everyone else.
Are all those buildings really full of chickens?
You want to know how scary Lalo really is? Let me tell you about what happened to Nacho. Nacho Varga was no joke. This guy had survived everything the cartel threw at him. He even kept Tuco's violent temper under control, and trust me, that's like trying to defuse a bomb while it's going off. He played mind games with Gus Fring, and somehow lived to tell about it. For years, he walked this impossible tightrope between the cartel and the DEA, all while trying to keep his father safe. This was a survivor, a guy who looked death in the face and didn't blink. Then Lalo showed up.
Yo soy Eduardo, but you can call me Lalo.
And I watched Nacho transform into someone I didn't recognize. Lalo didn't threaten him, didn't wave guns around, didn't do any of the typical scary cartel stuff. Instead, he treated Nacho like family. Cooked with him, joked with him, act like the cool older cousin who just wants to hang out. But I could see what was happening. Nacho could feel something dark underneath all that friendliness. The tough guy who stared down killers suddenly couldn't look Lalo in the eye.
Okay. Show me.
He flinched when he heard Lalo's name. He carried this weight everywhere he went. And I'm watching this thinking, if Nacho Varga is that terrified of someone, what chance does anybody else have? But if you really want to understand what kind of evil we're dealing with, let me tell you about Fred Whan.
Travel Wire, this is Fred.
Fred was just this young guy working at a travel wire office. Regular kid, regular job, probably had dreams, maybe saving up for college or something. The kind of person you'd walk past 100 times and never remember. So Lalo needs some information, right? Walks into Fred's office, turns on that charm. Fred can't help him. Company policy, nothing personal. Most people would argue a bit, maybe make some threats or just find another way. But Lalo beats this kid to death. Now, here's what really gets me. He had a gun. He had a silencer. Could have been quick, quiet, professional. But no, he chose to feel Fred's skull crack. He chose that. The autopsy said Fred died from blunt force trauma, fractured skull. Can you imagine? One minute you're talking to this friendly guy with the smile, the next minute he's a monster destroying your skull. And then he burns the whole building. But the moment, the absolute moment that made me realize Lalo was something beyond anything we'd seen before happened in Season 6, Episode 7. Howard Hamlin walks into Jimmy and Kim's apartment. He's pissed off, and honestly, he has every right to be after what they did to him.
Why go through this elaborate plot just to burn me to the ground?
He's yelling, being dramatic, demanding answers, just typical lawyer stuff, you know? Then there's this gust of wind. A candle flickers, and the door opens. I swear the temperature dropped 20 degrees. Jimmy and Kim went from annoyed to absolute frozen. Not regular scared, I'm talking deer in headlights, prey staring at a predator, frozen. They knew exactly what had just walked through the door. Howard? He had no idea. Kept ranting about reputation and careers, completely oblivious that death was standing right behind him. Who are you? Howard asks. And Lalo, with that same friendly smile, says,
Me? Nobody.
And just like that, no warning, no big speech, no hesitation, Howard drops mid-sentence. Blood everywhere, and Kim and Jimmy are screaming. And Lalo? He just waves it off like he knocked over a cup of coffee. It's okay. It's okay? He just executed an innocent man in their living room and he's acting like it's nothing. Like Howard was just furniture that needed moving.
Let's talk.
What happened next showed me just how smart this monster really is. He hands Jimmy a gun and tells him he needs to go kill Gus Fring. Now, he's not really sending him to murder anyone, but Jimmy doesn't know that. Lalo phrases it just right, gives him just enough details to watch this clever lawyer completely fall apart. Doors open, you point, you shoot, keep pulling the trigger until it's empty.
You want me to... I know. You're a lawyer and not a killer, but look, you can do this, okay? This guy, he's a house cat.
And I'm watching Jimmy spiral into complete panic. And I realize this is what Lalo does. He doesn't just kill people. He breaks them. He turns their own minds against them, while Howard's body is still warm on the floor.
Clock sticky, Mrs. Goodman.
Season 5 finale, the night that changed everything. Gus sends an elite hit squad to Lalo's compound in Mexico. Here's what makes it even worse. Nacho betrayed him. The guy Lalo trusted. The guy he treated like family. Let these killers right through the front door.
Another night owl, huh? You don't sleep?
Not tonight.
Nacho gave them the layout. When the attack starts, it's a massacre. Lalo's men, his cooks, his guards, people who had been loyal to him for years, they're all gunned down in seconds, bodies everywhere. The compound turned into a war zone. But somehow, in all that chaos, Lalo survives the initial assault. These professional killers think they've got him cornered. They're moving through his house room by room, checking every corner. They've got all the advantages, numbers, equipment, training. But this is Lalo's home. He knows every hallway, every hiding spot, every secret passage. And suddenly, the hunters become the hunted. One by one, he picks them off, using the darkness, using tunnels they didn't know existed. These trained killers start getting picked apart by a guy who's fighting for his life. But here's the crazy part. Lalo's not panicking. He's not desperate. He's calm, methodical. almost surgical in how he takes them down. Like he's been planning for this exact scenario his whole life. But here's where the story gets really dark. After that massacre, Lalo needs to disappear. But you can't just fake your death in the cartel. They want proof. They want a body. Remember Mateo and Sylvia, the nice couple Lalo helped earlier in the season? He even paid for Mateo's dental work. I remember thinking, look at that. Maybe he does have a heart. I was so wrong, it hurts.
Delicioso.
That wasn't kindness. That was preparation. Lalo had swapped his dental records with Mateo's. When the time came to fake his death, he'd have a perfect body double ready to go. So he walks into their house, all smiles and friendly conversation, makes small talk, acts like he's just visiting old friends. Then he takes a pair of scissors and murders Sylvia in the kitchen. Goes to the bathroom where Mateo's shaving and cuts his throat. Then he burned Mateo's body wearing Lalo's clothes at the house so the cartel would believe it was him. These were innocent people who trusted him completely. People he'd helped. And he butchered them like they were nothing. That's when I realized Lalo doesn't just kill people. He collects them, uses them, plans their death years in advance while smiling at their dinner table.
So where's the stuff?
In the end, Gus finally managed to outsmart him. One perfect trap in that underground lab, a gunfight, and Lalo went down. But you know what his last sound was? Not anger, not cursing, not begging. He laughed. Pure, genuine amusement that Gus had actually managed to surprise him. Like congratulating someone on a good move in chess. Because I finally understood. For Lalo, it was never about winning. It was always about playing the game. The thrill of it. The chaos. The fun. Even dying, he was having a good time. Look, every villain in this universe had their reasons. Gus wanted revenge for Max. Walt wanted respect and money. Tuco was just mentally broken. I could understand them, even if I hated what they did. But Lalo didn't need reasons. He was the reason.
You want to be a friend of the cartel?
That's why Saul Goodman never got over him. That's why years later in Breaking Bad, just the mention of Lalo's name sent him into a panic attack. Lalo just didn't hurt people. He haunted them. And that smile, that goddamn smile never left his face. So there you have it. The story of Lalo Salamanca, the most terrifying villain I've ever seen on television. Not because of what he did, but because of how much fun he had doing it.
So, who's Lalo?
Who?
Lalo.
Thought some dude named Lalo sent us.
You seem pretty freaked out.
It's nobody.